You're listening to the Erica and McAfee podcast, where we share stories of grief and loss due to miscarriage, infant loss, stillbirth, and journeys of trying to conceive and infertility. Welcome to episode 14 of the Erica and McAfee podcast. October is here, and it is Pregnancy and Infant Loss Awareness Month. Today's podcast is brought to you by mybabyexisted.com. Go to mybabyexisted.com to download your free meme, download it and post pictures to your favorite social platforms, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and then use the hashtag MyBabyExisted. We remember our angel babies all month long and honor their existence in our hearts and minds. In today's episode, Shawn Ware-Avant, a mental health advocate, shares her knowledge with us on postpartum depression and safe sleep to help prevent sudden, unexpected infant death syndrome. Shawn has provided mental health and advocacy services for parents, children, and adolescents for nearly 2 decades. Shawn's passions for treating attachment disruptions and parenting challenges guides her work with vulnerable families. She envisions transformation in general patterns through parents empowered to become the change they want to see in their families and communities. Specializing in maternal depression and anxiety, family separation, reunification trauma, and parenting support, Shawn assists parents and caregivers in better understanding their role and children. She is happily married with 3 teenagers, including a set of twins and a son on the autism spectrum. Thank you, Shawn, for being a part of the podcast.
Thank you, Erica. I appreciate you allowing me to be here with you today.
No problem. So for our listeners, please tell us about yourself and what you do.
Well, I'm a mental health professional. It's been almost 20 years now. I've worked with parents and families in various capacities. I specialize in maternal depression and anxiety, infant and early childhood attachment and bonding, separation trauma, like from divorce, foster care, incarceration, and then I also provide co-parenting support for families. But for the last 2 years, I've also served as the Safe Sleep Chair for the Eastern Child Fatality Review Team.
Okay.
So that's a project that I've been heavily involved in. Really important issue to educate people about, and some of the background around what happens sometimes with families in terms of depression and things like that can impact how infants are being cared for.
Awesome. So for those listeners who may not know, what is postpartum depression, and then kind of what are the signs of those in women?
Well, about 85% of women experience what they call the baby blues, or we call it affective instability. So feelings like weepiness, anxiety, extreme fatigue, sadness, or just some worry around caring for the baby, some doubts, things like that. Those are perfectly normal for the majority of women, but usually resolve within about 2 to 3 weeks postpartum. But about 15 to 20%, or 1 in 7 women, these emotions persist beyond that 2-week period, and it can be extremely disturbing because this depressed state often impacts how mom is taking care of herself and how she's taking care of the baby, and it can affect dad too. And I think sometimes people, when they hear postpartum depression, sometimes they say maternal depression and anxiety. It can affect, any woman, any culture, any age, any race, any income level, any pregnancy. So you could, have had a pregnancy and not had any of these symptoms, and then have a subsequent pregnancy and then develop postpartum depression.
So, for those women who are feeling those signs, what would be your recommendation on how they identify it in themselves, or as a sister or a friend, identify in others, and then what should they do to get help with that?
Well, before I tell you about ways that folks can sort of deal with it, I think it's important to talk about, what that might look like or sound like. So whether it's you, and sometimes it's someone else. If it's a new mom, she may not be aware of what's going on. It may be other people sort of checking in and saying, something's a little off with Shawn, and I'm not really sure what's going on. So I think it might be helpful to just talk about what some of the thoughts or feelings might be. And again, we're looking at a period beyond that first 2 to 3 weeks, and that these emotions are to the point that mom is having difficulty functioning. So she might think things like, hey, this being a new mom thing is really hard, or I can't do this, I'm never going to be able to do this. There might be some feelings of guilt, because, I should be handling this better, I should be, feeling really excited about this whole process, and they're not feeling that, and so, and families are sort of encouraging them to feel that way, and so they feel guilty about it. They might feel like the baby deserves better. They're crying. They don't feel that happiness and connection, and think, maybe the baby would be better with someone else, or they don't feel bonded to the baby. There's this whole idea that we're all supposed to be just full of elation and joy, but it doesn't always happen that way. The hormones and the impact those hormones can have on the brain can be significant, and so it's not that you don't love your baby. That bond just may not be there, and so moms may feel disconnected. They may also feel really confused and scared about taking care of the baby, have excessive worries about something happening to the baby. What if I make the water too hot? Or if we go out in public, what if, something happens, or I get in an accident, or if we go into the store and they catch a germ, and so, they can become really obsessed about those things to the point that they feel like they don't want to go out. Irritability, anger, having very little patience is also a very common sign. Some moms, they stop eating, or they can't sleep, or they want to sleep too much. And I'm talking about beyond being up with the baby all night. We're talking, they really feel that they're having a difficult time just functioning on a day-to-day basis. They want to sleep so much, not being able to concentrate. So, some of these things most moms are going to experience. You get that fog right after the baby is born. That first 3 months is really challenging anyway, because, it's a new person who you don't know. And so you are trying to adjust to this new person who has needs and demands, and this new person is trying to adjust and understand you. So that's really a critical time when moms need lots of support. Dads too. And, just sort of coming up with a routine and understanding how this is going to go. Usually beyond that point, things get a little bit easier. But when it gets to the point where you aren't functioning, I think it's really important that either you're encouraging mom or dad to seek help, or you are going to seek help. And it could be just talking with the pediatrician. Moms tend to be more receptive to making sure that their kids' needs are met, and at the same time they're not properly caring for themselves.
Right.
So you go to the pediatrician, and you might let the pediatrician know that you're having these kinds of feelings, and it's really worrying you. Or, of course, when you're doing your postpartum follow-up visit, letting your OB know that you're having difficult time adjusting, things like that. And at that point, they can do some assessment. So let me just kind of pause for a second to see what your thoughts are about that, or if you have any questions about those.
I'm thinking back to my time with my son. And both when we went to the OB for my checkup, and then when we went to his checkup at the doctor's office, I do remember them giving me some type of assessment, saying, kind of going through some type of questions just to make sure that I was feeling okay. Because at that point, it was probably 4 weeks or 6 weeks out from actually having him, or having him home with me in this case, because he stayed a month in the hospital. So my case is a little bit different, but it's still very much the same, that, I still had some type of assessment that I actually had to fill out. So typically you said around that time, after 2 weeks, you would know if something's changed, or you would see a change in behavior or just irritability of the person. So, So, like you said, if you can identify it in yourself, or if your husband or whoever can identify it in you know who you can go to seek help. And typically, if the OB or your pediatrician knows, if you fill out those questionnaires, because I think most practices may have that, because I know I had it in my case. Do they react to it? Do you think they react to it if you answer, I'm feeling this way, or I'm feeling do they react to it and point you in direction of someone to talk to?
Erica, that's a really good question. and well, I I guess, of course, they're going to react. If you score really high, they know that means that you're going to need some follow-up. I think the challenge sometimes, though, is that they may give you referral or tell you, you need to follow up and do something else. And with a mom who is truly experiencing maternal depression, they may not have the motivation to do any additional follow-through.
Exactly, yeah.
And that can be a problem because, it's not just the baby's health that we have to be concerned with, it's mom's health too and her recovery. And, we lose a lot of our moms due to some of the health issues that come about because they aren't properly caring for themselves, because they feel embarrassed and guilty and they don't want to seek help. And so their conditions become worse. And obviously the baby is going to be impacted by that too. So I think it's really important, especially, if it's a friend or a family member, that you are encouraging them to seek help. And if it is you, mom, that you are doing what you need to do to take care of yourself. You cannot pour from an empty cup. And the super mom is a mythical myth. I remember when I was younger, I was just in admiration of Claire Huxtable. I wanted to be Claire Huxtable.
We all love Claire.
That was going to be my family situation. I was going to be able to, be a big-time lawyer, and I was going to be able to take care of 4 or 5 kids and, take care of a husband and clean a house and, all that stuff. And no, boo-boo, it doesn't work like that.
No, not at all.
Most of us, once the reality of parenting hits, we go through a period where we kind of have to evaluate what's reality and, and sort of what's fantasy. And every family is different. The way that you adjust is going to be different. You mentioned that your son was in a NICU for a brief time. That adjustment period for you was extended. I wouldn't have jumped immediately at 2 weeks and said, you should be feeling better by now, because, of course, there were other stresses that were going on.
Right.
And, so the adjustment have to go back and forth to visit the baby and those kinds of things. So, all those things have to be taken in context. But I think the most important thing is, mom, if you are concerned, even a little bit concerned, that's cause enough for you to reach out and seek some additional support.
Awesome. So for those women who listen to my podcast, we have a big, huge gamut, but a lot of them are moms who've experienced a loss. So how does postpartum depression affect women differently if they lost a child?
Well, I think losing a baby under any circumstance, whether it's miscarriage or an elective termination, a stillbirth, it doesn't matter. I think anytime a mom is experiencing a loss, she's going to go through some of these same emotions. And, I know I've heard you talk before about the different stages of grief, and, you kind of educated your listeners about that, which I think is wonderful and amazing, because it's important that we know that. But I think the same kinds of thoughts for both parents, either whether the mother has lost a child or whether the mother is struggling with postpartum depression, they're very similar. There's a denial period where there's questions about motherhood and, and how real it is and what does that mean now. There's that anger phase where you feel like people don't really understand what you're going through. There's a why me sort of question. The bargaining is the same. It's just kind of figuring out how am I going to manage my life. You have to sort of work to resolve that the dream that you had or the ideas you had about what life would be like with the baby, that's not happening. And so now what do I do? And so that's a process that you have to go through as well. But what I will say is that it is so very important that women acknowledge themselves in their motherhood, because even if you've lost a child, you are still a mother. And I think that opens the way for us to get the kind of support that we need for moms to be able to connect with other mothers who are experiencing the same kinds of things, so that they don't feel alone, like they are the only person who is going through this, and there's no one they can talk to who can understand what they're going through. And that's what I think your podcast is. It's just a beautiful, wonderful, amazing resource for women who need to know that the feelings that they're having are normal and that they can get through it. And I just think it's beautiful that you're here offering that.
October is Pregnancy and Infant Loss Awareness Month. Today's episode is brought to you by mybabyexisted.com, a campaign created by me, Erica M. McAfee, to honor and show that our angel babies did exist. Go to mybabyexisted.com to download your free meme and then share your pictures. Please post pictures of your ultrasounds, pregnancy bumps, positive pregnancy tests, and babies, and use the hashtag mybabyexisted to honor your angel babies all month long. We remember our angel babies during the month of October and honor them and their existence in our hearts and minds. Let's switch gears a little bit. Let's go into talking about the safe sleep that you've been a part of, and sudden infant death syndrome and what it is. Let's go talk a little bit about that.
Right. So now they will say SIDS or SIDS, which is sudden unexplained infant death syndrome, because really they don't have a formal understanding of what happened. We have lots of research that's happening now, and then we have some ideas about things that may contribute to it, like the baby being exposed to smoking either prenatally or in infancy. There's some thoughts about the temperature, making sure that the baby is not overly swaddled and covered and things like that. But the vast majority of these cases are related to unsafe sleep environments. And that's a challenge for a lot of families, especially for our review team, because those losses are preventable. A lot of times it was just a matter of ensuring that the baby had the appropriate sleep space, and that alone could have prevented the loss of the infant. So families putting babies in the car seat to sleep, for example, or laying the baby on their stomach. And that's mostly, that's primarily a problem because up until about 4 months of age, the baby's neck does not have enough strength for the infant to be able to turn its own head. If you put the baby on his or her stomach and their nose becomes lodged because you have extra bedding or extra toys and things like that in the sleep space, the baby does not have the capacity to turn their head so that they can get more oxygen, and that can significantly contribute to SIDS. And of course, if the child has a cold or is congested, the risk is even higher. So that is why we encourage you to, put the babies in an open sleep space, a crib, a bassinet, an approved sleep surface with a fitted sheet that is designed specifically for that mattress, with no articles around the baby, no blankets, no pillows, no anything. You can use swaddlers, and there are blanket like onesies that you can put on the baby if you're concerned about them being cold. But most babies, once they get into the habit of being placed in that position with the room at the appropriate temperature, they sleep just fine. So it's just important that parents understand the risk. We've had a lot of babies that were lost due to co-sleeping, either with their multiple, so twins being in bed together, or the baby being in bed with the parent and the parent rolling over, or simply the sleep surface not being firm enough for the baby to be able to get the appropriate amount of oxygen. So it's really unfortunate how many infants we lose just because they were placed in an unsafe sleep environment or in an unsafe sleep position.
So you don't recommend even like sleep positioners? So like some babies to sleep on, put them on their side. They have those positioners that are out there so that they will stay on one side and not roll back over. You know what I'm talking about? You familiar with what I'm talking about?
I do. And the recommendation is that they are not used at all.
Okay.
Now keep in mind that after about anywhere between 4 to 6 months, the baby will start to roll over.
Right.
So, you wouldn't need a positioner necessarily, and, you want to definitely check on the baby, but once the baby is able to lift his or her head, there's some reduction in risk. But especially those first 3 months. And then, of course, with babies who were premature, it's even longer.
Mm-hmm.
You want to ensure that there is nothing in the sleep area that could cause them to suffocate. Another challenge, or another case that we've seen, is parents who sleep while holding the baby, which is not uncommon.
Right.
I did it with my babies when they were little, when they were sick.
Breastfeeding moms, right? Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Exactly, while they were sick. Mm-hmm. And I think sometimes we don't appreciate how sleep fatigue we get, especially in those first 3 months. And so there have been cases where we've lost infants because the child's nose became lodged in the mother's arm, in the crook of her arm, things like that. So as soon as the baby is falling to sleep or is sleeping, and the test I used to always use is if you take their hand and lift it and then kind of just drop it quickly, if the baby's asleep, it'll fall down. It'll just fall just flimsy. But if the baby's still even slightly awake, they'll catch it.
Oh, yeah.
So that's kind of your test. But as soon as the baby's asleep, put the baby down on a approved sleep surface, and then you don't have to worry about those risks. For parents who like to co-sleep, especially breastfeeding parents, I always recommend using a bassinet that you can bump right up to the mattress. So it's right up against your bed, so that you're right there. If you want to comfort the baby, you can drop your arm right into the bassinet and comfort the baby, stroke the baby, pick the baby up, nurse, put the baby back down. And for some families, that means they have to negotiate their room. Some people like to have the nice little, extra decor nursery with all the flim-flams and special, things. And then some folks have a real issue with, their rooms, not being arranged in a certain way. Don't worry about it. Those first 3 months, if you have to jam the bed up against the wall to get that bassinet next to the bed so that you have that baby closer to you so you can nurse, then you just let your room look a little cray for a minute. Mm-hmm. It'll be worth it for you. It'll be worth it for the baby. It'll be much safer for both of you.
Awesome. So do you have any final thoughts on postpartum depression and safe sleep and I keep saying sudden infant death syndrome?
A couple of things. The first thing that I want to make sure that I mention is that postpartum depression is not exclusive to women. It also affects men, as does infant loss. And I think sometimes we forget about dads, but it is important that we recognize and acknowledge that and the challenges it can create in our relationships if we aren't able to communicate in a way that we can work through this together. But keep in mind, men may not want to talk, and they may not want to seek help. They also may feel like they're supposed to be tough and strong to get through either the depression or the loss. But it's really important that if you notice similar signs in your partner, that you encourage him to seek help, or the both of you seek help together. In terms of postpartum depression, another potential symptom is mom feeling like she wants to run away or leaving her family behind. And so if you're ever feeling like you would want to hurt yourself or hurt your baby, it's important that you get help right away. You can always call 911. I'm in Virginia. I know your listening base is broader than Virginia. But two numbers I want to share are, if you're military, you can contact Fleet and Family Services. And that number is 800-F as in Fleet, S as in Services, C as in Center, line. And the phone number is 372-5463.
Okay.
So 800-372-5463. Or 627-LIFE. 627-5433. And if you're an internet person, you can go to befrienders.org, which is an international website. But they have people who can chat live with you and try to get you connected to resources locally. But I'm giving you some local resources if you are in the Hampton Roads area. And the last thing I want to mention is that if you are interested in more information or resources on either postpartum depression, on, say, sleep, and then, of course, some of the other issues that I talked about, please feel free to visit my website at ShawnWare-Avant.com. We didn't spend a lot of time talking about treatment options, but it's important that parents are aware of the benefits of medication, and if you are on medication during your pregnancy, it's important that you have a practitioner that understands the safety of medication and not immediately assume that you should come off of them.
Right.
Because that puts you at a higher risk for other types of more severe depression like postpartum psychosis, which it only happens in about 1 to 2 per 1,000 women, but it does happen sometimes. It can be a highly debilitating and risky disorder for both mom and baby. I also will mention that I offer telemedicine services, which I find to be much more beneficial for moms who are in a position who aren't comfortable going out.
Okay.
I use DoxyMe, which means that they can log on and we can actually have our sessions online.
Okay.
That seems to work a lot for postpartum families. So if you're interested in something like that, please feel free to visit the website. I'd be happy to talk more with you about that.
Awesome. So we will make sure we have all those links and the phone numbers that she mentioned in the podcast in our show notes, as well as her website. Well, thank you so much, Shawn, for being a part of the podcast and sharing what you do and giving us a little bit more insight on postpartum depression and safe sleep.
You're welcome. Thank you, Erica, and thank you so much for all you do.
Thank you for listening to today's episode. I pray that this show was inspirational and a blessing to you. The show notes and links for today's podcast can be found on ericaandmcafee.com/podcast episodes. Now it's time for you to tell your story. Visit ericaandmcafee.com for more information on how to be a part of the show. You can follow me on social at Erica M. McAfee everywhere on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. I would love for you to join the community. We need your feedback on the Erica M. McAfee podcast. For those of you listening in iTunes, please go to iTunes and rate and review the show. Keep the faith, and I will talk to you next Wednesday.